I want to go to the cross country trip. What gave you the idea to go from Georgia to San Francisco?
Dude, I just have like friends, like a few friends who are really just down to do anything. So like one of our friends was moving there. So we helped her move and we just like turned it into a trip. Like she could have flew, but she just decided that she wanted to drive. So we
Hmm.
all just like went together, took 7 days, stopped at a bunch of cool places, and then we flew back.
What did you learn from having all that time alone and or at least time to write down your thoughts and seeing
Mhm.
the country?
I One thing I learned is that the United States, I think, is super underrated in terms of like traveling and stuff. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, "Oh, I want to go to Mexico. Oh, I want to go to Thailand." It's just like, bro, like you can go a couple hours from your house, and there's some very, very dope places, right? The other thing is like, I really don't like being in a car or driving. I learned that like absolutely confirmed. I'll do it, but I really do not enjoy driving one bit. And just like the power of silence and just like setting aside time to think. Like when everybody else falls asleep in a car and I was driving in the desert, I got so much thinking done. Like when I go snowboarding, I get so much thinking done because you're kind of just like by yourself. So like setting aside time to think is just a huge thing.
How do you bring that silence into your day-to-day life where you're not driving across the
Yeah.
country and you have people napping on you or you're not going to snowboard? So how do you build that in?
Yeah. Um, just anything that's kind of like mundane in a way. Like a shower is an example of time that you could think, but that's a little bit short. But like if I'm stressed, I need ideas, I'll just go for a walk or I'll go play basketball. Like even if basketball isn't alone, it seems like you're like running around. It's kind of like I'm just like operating and my brain is just like thinking on its own. So like I feel like going for a walk and playing basketball for me are almost the same thing. Like I come out with it with like a new solution to a problem or just like a new idea altogether. Or I just feel good, bro. Like it helps me function. It's like a reset.
Yeah. What's an example of an idea that you've gained or that you've learned from a walk or a basketball game where you're just like, where did that come from? Does anything
Yeah.
pop out in your mind?
So like let's just say like I've had a problem with like my average order value and I couldn't come up with a way like, man, how do I get people to buy more or like an angle issue? Like I'll just be going for a walk and I'll think about it and it'll be like something that was right in front of me the whole time. But because you're so busy worrying about it or things like that, you immediately see like, oh, here's a new headline, here's a new angle, here's the angle that I should have did. Okay, look, I'll give you actually like here's a perfect example. I finally thought of one. So my main audience was like 50 and up, but all my images had women in their 20s and 30s. And you know, like in their 30s, I didn't think it would make that big of a difference. So I searched for some older models. I couldn't really find them. So I started using women like the 30s or 40s. Okay. But like once I started using women in their 50s or 60s, because that's exactly who my market was, everything immediately did exponentially better. And that was just
Wow.
like such a no-brainer thing. Like I had it in my notebook. Target market is 50 years and up, but I just didn't even get that type of content when that should have been a main priority, knowing that's who my market is. Because I would have never shown 20-year-old girls 50-year-olds, but why was I showing 50-year-olds, 20-year-old girls? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you mentioned your notebook a few times. What types of things do you jot down in this notebook and how does that play a role in your day
Yeah.
to day?
Dude, I got this from like Use and Tej Dose on Twitter. They just used to always tweet about how like if you keep things in your head, you're just like running like a CPU at like 50%. And so I realized I was like, holy crap, like I'm kind of anxious because I'm keeping everything in my head. So I just write down crap all day. Like one page in a day might say your dog needs to get its microchip, and it also might be like a new headline idea or like something I want to research later for XYZ brand I'm working on. It's just like big like that because I don't like keeping anything in my head. Like it just like slows you down because you have to think about remembering it.
How often do you go back into the notebook and revisit old entries?
I actually don't really do that, honestly, but like I stumbled across an old notebook because I thought it was new and I saw some old stuff. But like something close to that is when in 2014 or 2015 or something like that, me and my friends went through like a heavy self-improvement phase and we had like a little group chat. So we all like wrote down some goals of what we wanted our future to be. And so it's just like 5, 6 years old at this point. And my friend had a screenshot of it and he sent it back to me earlier this year.
Wow.
And it was crazy to see, like, I've exponentially done all I wanted back then. It was literally like, I think I said I wanted to have a web design company that also did marketing that made $3,000 a month remotely, so I could be a digital nomad. So like I'm not a digital nomad. I could be if I wanted to be, but just because I don't want to be, and I'm making way more than $3,000 a month. But that's like that was all I wanted. I didn't know how I was gonna get there. I tried to start up so many like web design companies and marketing companies when I was 16, 15, and they never worked. But like eventually I found my way, and it was just really cool to see like that screenshot that I completely forgot about, but it was me. Like it was sick.